Alright everybody, well, it's been a week or so since I've made any videos. Been busy getting this fireplace put in and getting winterized. It's been raining non-stop the last few days. So that just means snow is on its way. Probably isn't going to interest many people here, but I got to fix this side by side. Finally. It's from some people I know. They brought it to me. I worked on it some. And at the time, we just didn't have the parts. And they needed it, so I got it going good enough for them. And now we have all the parts. And we're going to try to fix it right. So basically, this is doing the typical Polaris thing where you can't shift it unless you turn it off. And that's because the secondary clutch is spinning non-stop. It's not disengaging. And what causes that is a few things, but the most common thing, and which is wrong with this actual machine, is there's a one-way bearing. And that one-way bearing is bad on the primary clutch. What it does is it idles the belt. So when you stop and you're idling, it doesn't lock up, and then the secondary or the transmission clutch doesn't spin, and then you can shift it. Well, what's happening is the shims are sorry, somebody was trying to just call my phone. The shims, I re-shimmed this one, sorry. So the belt was offline. You can look in there and look at the belt, and it was actually touching the primary clutch a little bit. The old belt was. So I got some shims, re-shimmed it, put a new belt in it. And as this is, as this was running and stuff, it was shifting and doing what it was supposed to do. And then I adjusted on the shims a little bit, etc., etc. It worked okay for him for about a week, and then it got to where you had to shut it off again. Now, at the time, I pretty much kind of had an idea that one-way bearing is probably bad in it, but nobody had one in stock for this machine, and we had to wait to order it. They needed the machine for that week, so long story short, it's back here. I've got all the parts now, and we're going to change out that one-way bearing, I guess, or try, or whatever. And I did get new shims and stuff for it, too. So we get this guy done and get it back to him, and hopefully never have to touch it again. So let me get the rest of these little 8mm bolts out of here, and we'll get that cover off, and then we'll take a better look at it. You see that idle? That should not be spinning. That one should be not moving, and that one should be all good and dandy. And in fact, that noise you hear, kind of whining noise, maybe if it's picking it up, is generally a telltale sign that that's spinning. So sometimes when you start it up and turn it off, it doesn't spin. It's a very hit and miss on it. But yeah, I mean, that one-way bearing on that end there feels pretty bad. So we got to pull this thing apart, and hopefully I can get it apart. All right, well, people would quit calling me. Anyways, I got to take that, primary off, and I do have the right T60, and we'll get that apart. Hopefully it'll come apart good, and we'll take compressed air and kind of blow everything out once we get it apart. And then I'll probably have to re-shim that, and I have some spare shims for that one. So like that. And I'll have to figure out how you get it off. Probably got to pull that one off too, so I'll buzz that one off real quick. We'll get that one. Hopefully that one will come off, and then we'll grab the parts. All right, with some swearing, I was able to get this off. Yep, I'd say that. Pretty sure that's the one-way bearing. Yep. I'd say with all that glitter in there, she'd eat up. She'd eat up. Bushing looks pretty bad too. Okay. Now clearly I'm not a Polaris mechanic. I've owned a bunch of Polarises, and they're pretty good. I mean, they get driven hard and beat on pretty hard, so they do break. But we've also had some Yamaha side-by-sides, and Yamaha side-by-sides don't seem to break as easily. Come on. Come on. Why don't you get out there in the mud, there, dog? Now again, that's probably going to ruffle somebody's feathers. That's just my opinion. Alright. So, this is what we got. You want to smell on it? You can't chew on it. Oops, if you don't want to do that. There he is. So, I guess I got to get this one apart and clean all this up. And try to get the new one on. Will it come apart easy? I'm gonna say not. Now I don't have a press, but you know, you can make any homemade C-clamp work, and I can't do this with just all of this in my hand, but so anyways, you just get some pressure on it and you whack the end of it with a hammer like that, and that'll press this out for you. So I've got it about 3/4 of the way out, and when I get it apart we'll come back, but just showing you sometimes you just have to invent a tool because you don't have a tool, and that's where I'm at right this second. There we go. Just like that. There's that thing. And here's this thing. Let's see here. I have no idea if you can see me or not. There it is. Yep, she's pretty chewed up. I'm gonna have to emery cloth that up pretty good. Well, at least it didn't fall completely apart. So I'll get this all cleaned up and deboogered. And the most important thing is we got to put the bearing on the right way, and hopefully I remember that. I'll probably have to look at my footage again, but I'm pretty sure I know which way it goes on. So I'll clean this up, and then I'll push all these pieces back together. And just like that, you can get it all pressed back together with your homemade C-clamp press. Don't forget to put your new shims in. I kind of screwed up. I didn't know I had a brash spacer, shim, whatever. It wasn't until I was looking in this bag I see there's a brand new one there, so I'm not taking this back apart. But anyways, see if I can get this on. There we go. And just like that. Probably going to have to play with the shims on that a little bit. But I do have a whole bunch of shims. However, by just changing that one-way bearing, that's where we're at. Catching that old one-way bearing was partially locked up, or locking up and not locking up, because sometimes it would shift this fine, perfect, but most of the time it was stuck where it isn't spinning. So let's see if we can do this. So that side looks all right. That side is touching. So there's a real thick shim in there, and I've got some thin ones. So, or sorry, I think I got one thin one and a real thick one. I'm going to take the thin one out, and we'll see how it looks from there. So this is what I'm talking about on the shims. I got one thick one, and I had this thin one in with it, and then I've got a medium one and another thin one. So we're going to take them all out about one and see where that gets us. God bless it. Oh. looking good. Never reach in and touch on it. All right, let's see what this says now. It's getting a lot better. Oops. Hang on, guys. I gotta mess with my stuff here. Hang on. There we go. So that side is just okay. This side's really tough to see. I mean, it looks like it is just, you can see daylight on that side. And it'll probably just touch on that side. So, maybe I'll stack all three of these together. Because it looks like we need to just go just slightly less than that really thick one. All right, we took that guy out. We put in the 3 skinnier ones, medium, 2 skinny. Alright, well, we're still a little off. Let's see what we're doing now. Looks like now we're opposite. So I don't know if I have any more shims, but it's like I need just one more thin shim. Let me dig around and see what I got for washers and whatnot and see. I mean, we're just right there. We're a shim off. So I'll dig around, see what I can find. Well, fellas, I did the best I could. I didn't have any more shims. Moving ever so slightly, but I can get it into high, wherever the little, oh, it's right there, park, high, low, neutral, reverse, park. So all I can do now is throw her together and go run her around a bit. See, it just still moves a little bit. but 139% better than when we first started, where it was just stuck and moving. So. And that might be as good as you can get them. You know, I've never really had to mess with these one-way bearings before. Those might slightly move. But let me get this all put back together. We'll go run her down the road. Alright, just in case you guys don't know, guess I should put it in gear. Now, the reason we were doing all this is because you couldn't shift it in gear, and when you would stop, it would just try to take off. It would just keep trying to go. You couldn't. It wouldn't disengage. So that's what the one-way bearing came in. So now it's doing good. Let's see. These won't accelerate if you don't have your seatbelt on. That's right. Now, kind of what I want to do is stop on a hill up here. Take a look, see how it's going to work. Backwards, so put it in park. Got it in high. Seems to be working good now. Put my foot on the brake. Perfect. Looks like it's working to me. Oh, just silly, gross seatbelt that. Seems like everything's working good on it, so and again, I've known quite a few people having shifting problems with these. My wife's grandpa bought one when he was 80 years old. He couldn't actually shift it, so he never really drove it ever. Sadly, he passed away, never getting to really experience it. But I don't know. This one seems to be shifting really smooth now, so again, I guess it was just one-way bearing as I originally thought. That being said, I guess we'll get her loaded up and take her back to Moose Lake where she goes. And that'll be a project out of my way, out of my hair. And I gotta finish working on the old shop this weekend. I don't know what other video I'll get out, but I'm going to try to get something out on the grumpy dump. So keep an eyeball out for that. Well, I say it's all fixed up. Well, as usual, thanks for watching, and maybe this will actually help somebody, I don't know. And sorry it's about a Polaris side-by-side, but had to get it done today, and I'm trying to keep some videos coming out, so we'll see you in the next one.